for well now we are. I say salon man and woman as a me. Waiting do we sweet salon for well now we are. Where we get we gold, where we get we diamond, where we get we iron or white for well we. Where we get we rutite, where we get we bauxite. Fish in our water plenty, why for well we oh. I say salon man and woman as a me. Waiting do we sweet salon for well now we are. I say salon man and woman as a me. Waiting do we sweet salon for well now we are. If petrol day, lights day na the whole country, motorcar they won't open no white for well we. If parents get good pay, pikin go school. If teacher get good pay, on pikin they go land. I say salon man and woman as a me. Waiting do we sweet salon for well now we are. I say salon man and woman as a me. Waiting do we sweet salon for well now we are. Waiting do we sweet salon for well. Waiting do we sweet salon for well.
Good evening and welcome to News Hour. Coming up in this edition, police discover remains of two motorcyclists in Nimiyama Chiefdom, Kono District. West African College of Physicians, Sierra Leone chapter holds the 11th annual general and scientific meeting. And piles of garbage at U building cleared after public criticism. These stories and more lined up in this edition of News Hour. Stay with us for the next hour. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. First, the news are tonight. The West African College of Physicians Sierra Leone chapter has held its 11th annual general and scientific meeting under the theme West African College of Physicians at 50, celebrating a legacy and envisioning the future. The West African College of Physicians is a professional medical body established to train and certify medical specialists, promote high ethical standards, and improve healthcare delivery across West Africa. The ceremony, held at the Atlantic Hotel Lumley over the weekend, brought together physicians, nurses, midwives, healthcare professionals, researchers, and policymakers to reflect on the college's achievement over the past 5 decades and discuss the future of specialist healthcare in the region. Jorian Dumbuya reports.
The event at Atlantic Lumley Hotel brought together physicians, nurses, midwives, healthcare professionals, researchers, and policymakers. They met to reflect on the college's 50 years of service and to discuss the future of specialist healthcare in West Africa. The West Africa College of Physicians train and certify medical specialists, promote high ethical standards, and work to improve healthcare delivery across the region. Participants said that when postgraduate training was not available in Sierra Leone, pioneer medical professionals laid the foundation for what is now the college. Speakers also highlighted the role of nurses and midwives as the backbone of healthcare system. Dr. Patrick Coker said the 2026 meeting was more than a scientific gathering. He said it was a chance to celebrate achievement, strengthen partnership, and shape the future of healthcare in Sierra Leone and beyond.
50 years should inspire the college and its chapters to ask what must be strengthened, what must be corrected, and what must be expanded, and also what must be preserved.
Megbori, chair of the West Africa Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives Sierra Leone chapter, said specialist care remain a critical challenge. She called for stronger collaboration among healthcare professionals to improve patient outcome.
The legacy you celebrate today is one we share as partners in clinical care, research, and public health advocacy. As you envision the future, the BAPCNM stands ready to strengthen this partnership.
In his keynote address, Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. Charles Senesi, reaffirmed government commitment to professional development and research. He commended the college for producing skilled specialists and urged members to turn knowledge from meeting into a better health outcomes.
And we are doing quite a lot as a Minister of Health in terms of creating an enabling environment. I keep saying it's a challenging moment for the entire world. There's huge financial crunch, but yet still, Africa and Sierra Leone, we have to chart our way forward. And postgraduate education, as Dr. Coker said, is the way to go, and that is what we all believe in.
A major presentation focused on mothers' knowledge of neonatal danger, signs at a tertiary hospital in Freetown. Researchers said it is the first study of its kind in Sierra Leone, and it will help guide interventions to reduce neonatal mortality.
But sadly enough, despite such good ANC attendance and all the information they had received, only 44.7% of that cohort were able to tell us the neonatal danger signs.
The meeting ended with stakeholders pleading to strengthen specialist training and building a healthier future for Sierra Leonean and the West African sub-region. For SLBC, Jorian Dumbuya.
Just days ago, images of massive heap of garbage at the U building home to several government ministries went viral during widespread criticism over the state of one of Sierra Leone's busiest public institutions. Now that dump site has been declared as workers embarked on a general cleaning exercise. But beyond the cleanup lies a story of financial constraints, environmental concerns, and renewed commitments to keep the compound clean. Alimami Conte reports.
A few days ago at U Building, a huge pile of refuse, foul odor, littered surroundings, and grass dominated the compound, prompting public outrage and raising questions about sanitation at one of the country's most important government facilities. As part of a major cleanup exercise held on Saturday by the community-based Cleaning and General Services Sierra Leone Limited, the pile of garbage at the back of the building has been removed. Drains and walkways were cleaned, and workers swept and brushed different sections of the compound.
I'm happy that they are now cleaning the compound and the dump site has been cleared. The dirt was seriously affecting us. At night, we could hardly stay in our office because of the mosquitoes. During the day, when the sun was up, the stench coming from the dump site made it unbearable for us. Sometimes we even felt ashamed when visitors came and started complaining about the condition of the place.
While many welcomed the cleanup, those responsible for maintaining the premises said the situation did not arise overnight. The manager of CBC said over the years, financial challenges severely affected their operations.
From 2024, I started overseeing the cleaning of the U building in 2024. I had been paying workers and buying cleaning materials for my personal savings. About 6 months ago, I stopped paying the staff because I was no longer receiving funds. That is why the cleaning stopped and the garbage accumulated the way it did.
According to management, measures have been put in place to prevent a recurrence. These include placing waste bins at strategic locations and working closely with security personnel to enforce proper waste disposal, among others.
For their round, therefore they monitor that.
Our staff will be deployed to collect and empty the bins at the end of each working day. In addition, we will engage all the ministries housed in the buildings so that we can work together to keep the compound clean.
The transformation at the UU building has brought relief to workers and visitors who had endured the stench, mosquitoes, and unsightly environment. But with commitments now made to strengthen waste management, many will be watching to see whether the renewed sanitation drive is sustained long after the cleaning exercise.
The President, Julius Maada Bio, has attended the funeral service for Honorable Justice Nyawo Finda Maturi Jones at her hometown in Jamanimiko, Kono Chiefdom. Kono District, I beg your pardon. It was a national farewell for a national trailblazer. Justice Maturi Jones became the first female lawyer and first female judge from Kano. Our State House correspondent, Margaret Senge, reports.
Justice Nyawo Finda Maturi Jones hailed from Jayamanimikoro Chiefdom, Kono District. She was a devoted member of the United Methodist Church. She was the first woman to become a lawyer and a judge in her community. In the presence of President Julius Maada Bio, Paramount Chief of Nimukoro Chiefdom, Eya Dentin Bona, described the late woman as a peacemaker, a selfless mother to all. He recounted their relationship since childhood and noted her contributions towards his elections as Paramount Chief. Justice Jones' eldest son, Curtis Jones, described his mother as a woman of exemplary character who lived a life of sacrifice and loved. He expressed his appreciation to President Bio for the honor accorded to their late mother.
I remember I told you at King Memorial when I was doing the homily. I expressed that very clearly. That when she was in the courtroom, what was seen with her was the gavel. But when she transcended to the house of the Lord, to the church, it wasn't a gavel that was seen. It was the Bible that was seen. And therefore, she had to put together in her thoughts of justice both the gavel and the Bible, dealing with it in the way God wanted it. Yes, there was a moment she had to use the gavel, but she also thought of humanity. Yes.
Delivering the funeral sermon, Bishop James Kolka emphasized a gainful life as measured not by material wealth, but by positive impact, growth, and service to others. He said the life of Justice Maturi Jones was a shining example and legacy built in a meaningful contribution to society.
And they're all thanking me for bringing Mom back. And I just wanted the family to know that I couldn't have done it without His Excellency, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio. So thank you, sir, for your help. Before and after myself. Thank you very much.
The late Honorable Justice Nyawo Maturi Jones was born on the 28th of August 1950 and died on the 4th May 2026. Justice Jones was called to the Bar of England and Wales in 1979. She began her career in the judiciary as a magistrate before rising through the ranks to serve as a High Court judge and later Justice of the Court of Appeal. Following her retirement from the judiciary, she was appointed Chancellor of the Cornell University of Science and Technology, a position she held until her death. For SLBC News, Margaret Senge reporting.
Men have a responsibility to God, their families and the nation through effective leadership and advocacy for justice. And if men fail in their social and moral responsibilities, society will falter. This is according to the Clerk of Parliament, Kama Conte, who was speaking in Parliament during the launch of the parliamentary chapter of the Men on a Mission, a faith-based organization. And the Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources has called on investors and other African governments to empower the mining sector and transform the continent's immense mineral wealth into real prosperity for its peoples. Julius Daniel Matai was speaking at the African Energy Forum in Cape Town, South Africa. The forum brought together energy and mining leaders from across the continent to shape investment and policy for energy transition. Our reporter, Yusuf Mosiri Suma, followed the event and sent in this report.
Sierra Leone's Mines and Mineral Resources Minister closed in message through wide support with several counterparts echoing the need for Africa to capture more of the battery, renewables and technology supply chain. The minister said Africa should harmonize policies and legislative framework with an integrated approach towards harnessing the continent's immense mineral wealth. He further said Africa should not only be the place for mining but also a place for industrialization purposes.
Africa should not only be mined, it should be industrialized. Africa is not just connecting mines or connecting to the national grid. It should also be powerfully energized so that its people have the empowered enough. And it's not only saying, okay, well, let's build a corridor, we are part of a corridor. I mean, that corridor also must link so many things: education, health, road, and businesses. And this whole thing about energy security, about supply chain, that we should not just be part of it, we should also be part of the dialogue to shape it, to ensure that it works for our people, to ensure that our people benefit.
While seeking for stronger partnerships into the energy and mineral sector in Africa, Minister Matai called for the motivation and empowerment of young people with the requisite technology.
We have to make sure we motivate, inspire, and empower our young men and young women, have the requisite technology, and of course, I call it the spirit of patriotism, that we take development into our hands to be able to do this. We are still looking to secure partnerships, but partnerships that do respect our sovereignty, our dignity, our own industrial growth, our own natural resources, and our determination to make sure that everybody wins. It's saying all these policy aspirations, all these policy panel discussions should now be actualized into actions.
Minister said the era of exporting raw minerals alone must end, and that the energy access, industrialization and the beneficiation must be linked if the continent was to retain value from its critical minerals. The minister said Sierra Leone's position was the foundation for mining growth. He argued that without sufficient, affordable and clean power, mines could not drive. He called for regional energy projects, cross-border transmission and targeted investment investment in processing facilities close to mineral sources. He reaffirmed Sierra Leone's commitment to responsible mining, community benefits, and continental cooperation. Yusuf Mosire Suma, SLBC News.
The Women's Economic Advancement and Literacy Trading Hub, Wealth Trust, has trained over 350 women entrepreneurs on financial literacy and business development. The training was aimed at strengthening their businesses and supporting their transition from the informal sector into registered enterprises. Our reporter, Christiana Kamara, has more.
The training, which took place at the YWCA Hall in Brookfields, focused on financial management, business registration, digital savings, insurance, and other practical skills aimed at improving business growth and sustainability. The initiative was aimed to promote savings culture, insurance coverage, and digital financial inclusion to support women in moving from informal trading into formal business ownership. The Chief Executive Officer and founder, Women's Economic Advancement and Literacy Training Hub, Ailara Ahmed, said the organization was established to empower women through knowledge and structured business support. She said the aim was to help women build credible businesses that can access financial services and operate in the formal economy.
We highlighted the necessity of crowdfunding. Another thing that we aim to do is to transform traditional means of savings into digitized platforms. So now we have like a whole financial ecosystem for them. We have the trading sessions, we have the skill sessions, and of course we have the digital payment system that they can just update and see all their cash payments through that. With the digital payment system, they are assured of their money.
Among the major achievements at the center of this year's annual general meeting is the acquisition of a piece of land in Bo District for the construction of a 5-story center of excellence. The facility is expected to serve women and girls in Bo, Bonth, Pujon, and Moyamba districts. The proposed center will also function as a training hub for skill development, mentorship programs, and other empowerment initiatives aimed at enhancing the socio-economic status of women and girls in the region. The outgoing chairperson of SPONET, Gertrude Karimo, highlighted the organization's remarkable journey since its establishment in 2017. She noted that for almost a decade, the network has remained committed to contributing to national development through interventions targeting teenage pregnancy, gender mainstreaming, advocacy, public health awareness, and the promotion of quality education among school pupils.
We went to schools because at the end of the day, within the schools, we need to have the kids, retention in schools. The children should stay in school. How do we mentor them?
One of the participants, who also doubles as the Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Josephine Kamara, expressed concern over what she described as the limited participation of grassroots women in some organizational structures. She urged the incoming executive to ensure that the network goes beyond engaging elites and actively incorporates grassroots women in its programs and decision-making processes.
Where are our grassroots women in this room? So now we know more way to promote or other places. When we village women, I just want that as much as we're talking about elitism, we should not forget, because the decisions that all they take now, it therefore affects them.
The Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Isata Mahoy, reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting women's programs and initiatives aimed at accelerating national development. She pledged in increased collaboration between the ministry and women-led organizations to enhance socio-economic opportunities for women across the country.
The responsibility as human beings, or as women, or as people of this country, for let we take that responsibility, for let we act upon certain things.
In her keynote address, Dr. Fatou Taki called on members of the network to remain united and work collectively for the advancement of women and girls. She stressed that collaboration and teamwork are essential ingredients for achieving meaningful societal transformation.
So it's a day that you're here doing an AGM. It's a day where you sit and think, what am I doing? And how what I am doing has an impact on everybody else around me and the community.
Other participants commended SPONET for its sustained commitment to women's empowerment and expressed optimism that the organization would continue to expand its impact into communities across the southern province and Sierra Leone as a whole. SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting.
After 30 years of endless service imparting knowledge and nurturing innovators and leaders, the principal of Limount College has called on current and past pupils of the school to join them in celebrating the school's achievement. She made the call during the school's health work aimed at keeping both current and past pupils fit and healthier.
The leader of the DIB movement and APC Flyboy aspirant, Dr. Ibrahim Bangura, joined hundreds of Sierra Leoneans and students to observe the Environmental Awareness Walk 2026, commencing from the Regent's Car Park onto the Takogama Chimpanzee Sanctuary, one of Sierra Leone's ecotourism potentials. It was designed to raise awareness on the importance of environmental protection and conservation. The work also created the opportunity to interact with Dr. Ibrahim Bangura in a relaxed, healthy, and environmentally friendly atmosphere. The event reached at its climax with the orderly distribution and planting of special tree species, symbolizing a shared commitment to restoring and preserving Sierra Leone's natural environment. Addressing participants, Dr. Ibrahim Bangura encouraged Sierra Leoneans to respect and protect nature, emphasizing that environmental stewardship was a collective responsibility essential for the country's future. Reflecting on the World Environment Day 2026 theme, Inspired by Nature for Climate for Our Future, Dr. Bangura highlighted the campaign's focus on urgent climate action through key pillars, inspired by nature to protecting nature-based solutions such as protecting forests and wetlands that help combat climate change.
When you look at the question of human security, one of the components got to do with the environment, the security of the environment. How you interact with and deal with your environment fundamental to how the environment have to react to you. We now don't treat the environment fine at this country. This is very serious because I think we I can reflect on regularly. And it therefore be a key component of the campaign moving forward. And eventually, if God make we succeed, the next government will play a big role for protect the environment in this country. Where you look up the hills, every day you see them wash the hills. I can ask the question of why government will stop that kind here. Why we want to kill the hills and just build randomly across. It's dangerous. And we not learn from the lessons of the landslide. The mudslide will be happen. If I don't show we say, where you not handle the environment well, the environment get away for react, we're not good, we're dangerous.
The DIB leader noted that protecting environment was not only about conserving nature, but also about securing a healthier, safer, and more prosperous future for generations to come. He called on all Sierra Leoneans to embrace environmental responsibility and work together in building a greater and more climate-resilient nation. Participants also witnessed official statements and the unveiling of a commemorative plaque honoring everyone who took part in the initiative. Ibrahim Samra, Freetown.
You're watching NewsHour coming to you live on SABC Television in Freetown. We continue with more stories. Street Child Sierra Leone has celebrated the successful implementation of the Education for Every Child Today, popularly known as EFFECT project, with a call for sustained efforts to ensure that every child in Sierra Leone has access to quality education. The 4-year project, which was implemented by Street Child Sierra Leone in partnership with the Education Above All Foundation's Educate a Child program with funding from the Qatar Fund for Development, officially closed out at a ceremony held at Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. As Esther Suzanet Bassi reports, the project supported the enrollment
established in hard-to-reach areas. In addition, hundreds of teachers received training in innovative teaching methodologies aimed at improving learning outcomes. Deputy Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Emily Gogra, reaffirmed government's commitment to ensuring that no child is left behind in accessing education.
Prioritizing girls, children with disabilities, and those in rural and underserved communities. This is what leadership looks like, using data, partnership, and investment to ensure that no child remains invisible. But let us be clear. Access alone is not enough. To go to school is not only enough. No child left behind means focusing on those still excluded.
Despite the successes recorded, stakeholders noted that challenges remain as more than 180,000 children are still out of school in Sierra Leone. The event captured with renewed commitments from government, development partners, and communities to sustain the gains achieved and continue working towards inclusive and equitable education for all children. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanet Bassi reporting.
The Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, with its partners, has begun a 2-day strategic session on blended and innovative financing for education. The initiative aims at exploring sustainable financing solutions to strengthen the education sector. Christiana Kamara has more.
Sited here at the New Brookfields Hotel in Freetown, we are members of Parliament, CSOs, development partners, and government officials. Their purpose was to examine alternative financing mechanisms that support long-term investment in Sierra Leone's educational system. Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Conrad Saki, said the engagement came at a critical time when traditional sources of education.
Well, it's now time for our segments, and we start with the international news update.
Hello and welcome to the international news with me, Esther Suzanet Bassi. The United States and Iran have agreed to stand down following an exchange of strikes over the past few days. It comes after several attacks in and around the Strait of Hormuz, with both nations accusing each other of violating their ceasefire. Deputy Iranian Foreign Minister Kazem denied that there were plans for technical talks this week. Over the weekend, the U.S. retaliated with a series of strikes on Iran, hitting multiple targets in what U.S. Central Command called a direct response to the continued aggression against commercial shipping. The Strait of Hormuz is a key waterway for oil and gas shipments and was effectively closed by Tehran after the US and Israel launched attacks on Iran at the end of February. The World Health Organization said that over 1,300 excess deaths had been recorded in Europe since June 21 in connection with the record-breaking heat wave worsening much of the continent. Tens of millions have been braving extreme temperatures in Europe as the deadly heat wave moves eastwards, with some countries announcing rising death tolls and health services warning of saturation.
The WHO chief said United Nations Health Agency was working with its member states and partners to address the health threats posed by extreme heat through focusing on preparedness, prevention, and stronger health system responses. He called on European countries to implement heat health action plans as part of a push to safeguard health in the face of climate change. Thousands of Malawians are stranded in makeshift camps across South Africa as fairs go ahead of an unofficial June 30 deadline set by anti-migrant groups demanding undocumented foreigners leave the country. The crackdown follows weeks of anti-immigrant protests and deadly attacks that have claimed the lives of 2 Mozambicans and 1 Malawian. South African authorities have condemned the violence and pledged heightened security ahead of planned anti-migrant marches, warning that anyone taking the law into their own hands will face arrest. The crisis highlights growing tensions over jobs, migration, and economic hardship in Africa's most industrialized economy. And finally, in the international news, several fighters are feared to have been killed following a violent internal clash between rival commanders of the Islamic State West Africa province inside the group's stronghold in the Timbuktu Triangle, according to intelligence sources. According to security sources of one of the commanders, refused to allow fighters under his command to participate in a planned operation. According to the sources, the clash followed weeks of mounting tensions among commanders over operational decisions, dwindling resources, and the management of logistics within the enclave. Security sources believe the latest confrontation could temporarily disrupt the group's operational effectiveness as mistrust spreads among commanders and fighters. Well, that's it for the international news summary from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I am Esther Susanette Sibasi. Thanks for watching. Continue to stay good.
Up next is the entertainment update.
Hello, and welcome to Entertainment News with me, Stoma Baba Toure. In this edition of Entertainment News, Sweet Bobo wins House of Stars Season 3. Caldenero accuses Legacy Boy of song theft. And the one night, 2 crowns pageant ends with Kati Fofana crowned Miss Universe Sierra Leone 2026 and Adele Caroline Jusu crowned Miss Grand Sierra Leone 2026. And now the long-awaiting show has ended. The game is over. After months in the house, the season 3 of the reality TV show House of Stars has ended, with King Mele Kulbasi, popularly known as Sweet Bobo, taking home the 230,000 New Leons grand prize. Sweet Bobo won the show with a 90.1% vote, followed by Patricia Jaka, aka Street Pekin, third Jacob Sise, and fourth Mr. Mamba Toure. Thanks for watching. Keep watching the SLBC.
Now to our final segment, the sports update.
Hello there and welcome along to the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. And by the way, my name is Abdul Kabir. Thank you so much for your time. Now, the Sierra Leone Football Association has successfully concluded the 2026 Ordinary Congress at the southern city of Bo. Well, the event is returning for the first time in 22 years in Bo. SLBC Sports was there to see that bright day.
Let us compete with ideas and not hate. Let's challenge one another without destroying one another. And this is so because when football wins, all of us wins, and when football loses, all of us lose. We go to governance and compliance. since my administration took over in August 2025. Distinguished delegates, when we assumed office, one of our first decisions was to set up the Transitional Committee. Many misunderstood its purpose. Some call it witch hunt. However, it was not. It was an exercise in truth. We wanted to know where we stood as an institution. By our independent auditors, it forms part of the management report that since 2022, Sierra Leone Football Association has failed to establish a clear communication on this matter. That is to write the supplier who was paid to supply these items but could not deliver. Since then, nothing was done until we took office. Still, it remains to be an unanswered question and continue to hand over the credibility of Sierra Leone Football Association. Operation at the Secretariat. My dear colleagues, one thing clearly stood out following a review of the report received from the Transition Committee. Weakened staff strength, and our response to this was robust. What we did was to forensically audit our staff internally and decided based on competence following this. We let go of certain staff and brought in new staff. We appointed a new General Secretary, a Deputy General Secretary, Technical Director, Finance Director, Women's Football Manager, Referees Manager, Procurement Manager, Competition Officer, and
public criticism. The manager of Community-Based Cleaning and General Services, Sierra Leone Limited, Patricia Cabo, said over the years, financial challenges severely affected their operations. Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of News Hour from the SLBC. I've been your uncle, Daphne Zainab Kamai. Have a blessed night.